Whatever nightmares the future holds are dreams compared to harmless phosphorescence. Hello, everybody. This is 100% Dick Thoreau Smiley. Who's joining me this week?
I'm Josh CC, and I don't learn. It's one of my problems. My other problems, see above.
I'm Brian Lesh, and we're just like Kevin Bacon.
I'm Alaric Weber, and you will succumb to my pelvic sorcery.
Always will, as if it's a future tense thing.
And this is Harmless Phosphorescence. It's the podcast where we watch every theatrically released full-length live-action superhero movie ever made. We gather some research into the production and source material, then we tell you all about it. This show is brought to you by our patrons. Patrons like executive producers, Michael Beckwith and Atticus Burkett. You want to be a patron too? It's easy. Go to patreon.com/harmless entertainment.
Yeah, I just want to be quick. Yeah, please do. It's $1 a month. Atticus and Michael have been producing us since we began. We're so thankful for them, but get on board, help them out. They can't carry everything.
Yeah, and to get your name read on the show every week, all you got to do is become an executive producer. There's multiple levels. $1 a month is your starting point. We've got other levels where you get more stuff than just watching our monthly show.
We have exclusive content that never gets released for free.
Yeah.
Ever. Sometimes we do for an occasion, but we have stuff that you can only hear on Patreon.
Yeah, and we've got tons of that up there. There's music stuff. We've got a weekly Simpsons show that's coming out now. So check it out, patreon.com/harmless entertainment. But this week on Harmless Phosphorescence, we are watching Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, hey, cool, man. No problem. No problem at all.
Who are you?
Star-Lord.
Who?
Well, Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw. Forget it.
We arrested these 5 on Xandar. Check out the rap sheets.
Drax, aka the Destroyer. Since his wife and family were killed, he's been on a rampage across the galaxy in his search for vengeance. Gamora, soldier, assassin, wanted on over a dozen counts of murder. Rocket, wanted on over 50 charges of vehicular theft and escape from lockup.
What the hell?
Groot, he's been traveling recently as Rocket's personal houseplant / muscle.
Peter Jason Quill. He's also known as Star-Lord.
Who calls him that?
Himself, mostly. He's wanted largely on charges of minor assault, public intoxication, and fraud.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how this machine worked. Hey. That's mine. You son of a... Hey! Take those headphones off right now!
They call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What a bunch of a-holes.
Hooked on a feeling, I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. I'm hooked on a feeling.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
That trailer is so weird. The music is so weird. What the hell is happening in the marketing for this movie?
So intense and suspenseful.
Yeah, that trailer, that's a good trailer. It doesn't really tell you anything about the plot. It introduces you to them. There was obviously some stuff shot just for the trailer because there was
Yeah.
a lot of John C. Reilly stuff in there that wasn't in the movie. But yeah, I feel like this is really the beginning. Like, the Avengers and everything, all of that. Yes, that's MCU, but I feel like this is really the beginning of the modern MCU. Like the way it feels now continues from here.
The humor is the center of the movie and the
Yes.
marketing for the movie too. Like they're tricking us with the intense dramatic aspect of it, and ending with "Hooked on a Feeling" is a cool choice.
Mm-hmm.
But the first half of this trailer felt like a Marvel, like Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
But dripping little bits in there, like
Yeah,
him saying his name and not getting recognized.
yeah.
The a-hole line, the machine.
Yeah,
hand
all of
machine.
that. Yeah, yes, all of that. It reminds me of those old days when I used to be 100% behind Chris Pratt as an actor and movie star.
I remember when we all were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't remember anyone ever saying he was brilliant, but I don't know.
he
It's
was.
weird.
I loved him on Parks and Rec. I
Yes.
loved him in this, and then it's been downhill ever since. Honestly, his personal issues have not helped, of course, but he's also been pretty underwhelming in everything he's done that's not Guardians, honestly. Jurassic Park hasn't been especially impressive for him, but
You didn't love that movie where he was a total weirdo in Passengers, where he woke that girl up,
and then and gaslights her and
Yeah.
like tricks her into having sex with him. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was great.
that was fantastic. Wow, what a great movie. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But Guardians of the Galaxy was released August 1st, 2014. It has a running time of 122 minutes. It cost $232 million and it made $772 million at the box office. And that
Which
means
is, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Josh.
It just adds to, maybe not just adds, maybe it's the number one thing, mystery as to how this even worked, how this franchise or movie, it made that money, and it made that money right away based on a super obscure comic book with unrecognizable characters.
Yeah.
And
Well,
what a gamble. Like you said, it kicked off the universe, but that's a gamble. It's a big.
It was a
oof.
gamble. I think it definitely helped that, they were selling it as a Marvel, they were selling it as MCU. They were selling it as funny, as, like the ad campaign, like that trailer, like sold the hell out of this. I saw that trailer and I was like, yes, I have to see this.
The two most famous people in this movie are playing the talking tree and talking raccoon.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially at this point in time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
All of
2000,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
what was this, 2014?
2014. Yeah.
Crazy. I saw this the day it came out in movie theaters on a whim. Just like
I saw
it
it
came out
opening
of another
week.
movie and was like, there's a line for that Marvel movie? I love Marvel movies. I'll see this. That seems weird. Yeah.
I saw it opening week. I took Rain and Jude. Rain came out of it like Jude was young, so he came out of it like, yay, spaceships, superheroes, it's great. Rain was early teens, maybe 12, 13, somewhere around there. Oh no, 2014. He would have been a teenager. But he came out of it like, with like, wow, I want to get a Walkman. I'm obsessed with Peter Quill now, and this whole thing, like, it was like Indiana Jones for him. He came out with that.
It's
It
like,
felt
would you
like
like some
Star
cereal?
Wars.
Would you like cereal, Jude? It's
Yeah.
Never mind. Go ahead.
But yeah, no, that's the thing, and it had it had those vibes. It has specifically, and James Gunn has said he specifically was trying to make that kind of movie. Indiana Jones, Big Trouble in Little China. These are things it draws very heavily on.
Mhm.
Yeah. It definitely does. It also did something else. I was just thinking about. Obviously, Thor did to an extent, but it was very Asgardian related. This movie opened up space and magic to a certain extent that wasn't introduced in the MCU yet.
Absolutely.
Especially space. Like, it's always just assumed that there's one galaxy, one group of planets, one group of creatures. And I like this shit that there's regular other people just trying to hustle and make a buck. It's fun to think of all that shit. The shit that's happening.
It did that Star Wars thing that
Yes.
it's like the cantina scene of Star Wars in a whole movie.
Yeah, and they even had one. You know what I mean? With the racing of those little rats and all that shit. So they had the CD bar. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it opened it up. In Thor the Dark World, space was very like there's this planet and there's that planet, and it's hard to travel between them. We need the Bifrost, there's all this. And in this it's like, no. Space is this big, dumb, dirty thing. It's basically, like it's
spaceships are like cars.
Yeah, you travel around them. It's traveling from planet to planet is like Indiana Jones traveling from country to country in Raiders of the Lost Ark. We'll do it through a quick little montage. Boom, you're there.
And it's also about what's happening. You know what I mean? That we'll never see or know about behind the scenes. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, and absolutely, this is Marvel space in Marvel movies. Space in the MCU has been following this blueprint ever since. This absolutely took it away from Thor and said, "This is it." Even Thor Ragnarok follows this blueprint.
Yeah, agreed. Exactly.
So, all right, this movie, as I said, made a lot of money at the box office, which means it's time for us to play the box office top 10 game. This is the game where I will describe the top 10 movies, the box office of August 1st, 2014. The guys are going to try to guess what movie I'm describing. You ready to jump into the game here, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Number 10 for the week of August 1st, 2014. A Chechen Muslim legally immigrates to Hamburg, where he gets caught in the International War on Terror.
A story that needed to be told. Maybe it did, but...
It was Daddy Daycare 2.
Taking care of business.
It looks like... Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh.
Wow, he was... When did he die? He didn't have many movies after this, did he? Or wait, what year did he die? Does anyone remember off the top of their heads?
No.
2016. I think he was in the year where all the celebrities died.
Oh God, yeah, that year. So,
more between Bowie and Prince.
Yeah. This is called A Most Wanted Man.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Which could in fact also be the name of any sort of rom-com. Number 9. Oh wow. A self-absorbed realtor enlists the help of his neighbor when he's suddenly left in charge of the granddaughter he never knew existed until his estranged son drops her off at his home. This stars Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton. It's one of those there was that period of 10 years when they were making old people rom-coms.
Yep.
It's one of those.
She's gotta stay off the grass.
I mean, kinda. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. The title is basically part of a sentence. It's called "And So It Goes," which made me wonder if it. Well, it made me wonder if it was Kurt Vonnegut related, but I don't think so.
That's what makes me think.
Number 8. Oh, okay. A married couple wake up to discover that the erotic video they made the evening before has gone missing, leading to a frantic search for its whereabouts. We got ourselves we got Cameron Diaz and Jason Segel.
The Cloud?
What's that?
The Cloud?
No,
I
that's
thought
not
this was Zach and Miri make a porno, but that's totally different.
That was that was
Isn't it just sex tape or no?
sex tape. Yeah, exactly. You got it, Josh. Sex tape.
Straightforward.
Number 7. Three intertwining groups of people are left stranded in the streets trying to survive the night. First, is this a comedy, a horror, or a drama?
And is it one night or just the night to survive the night?
They're just trying to survive this night, this one
particular. Oh, is it a purge?
It is. It's a purge.
It's got an urge to purge.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's an advertisement for some jewelry from Jared. It's called. I fucked that up.
It's called Jared the Purge.
No, the new purge is actually called the Forever Purge.
Yes,
that's the subtitle to that movie, and it sounds like a diamond tennis bracelet from Jared.
The Forever Purge. Yeah.
I mean, they are blood diamonds, so
yeah.
Got that going.
This is anarchy, the Purge anarchy. So by not numbering horror movies anymore, which has become, a thing they just do.
Yeah.
They don't number them. They just give them like the title and then like a thing. It makes it really confusing for me to try to figure out which one is which. Yeah. Especially on all these franchises, which I don't watch.
But I mean, do you really know which one is Saw 4 or Saw 17?
No.
Or Saw 3?
Good point. Yeah. Good point.
Well, most of the Fast and Furious, I have no idea what order they came out in.
The following is a movie I have watched. When Dusty learns that his engine is damaged and he may never race again, he joins a forced fire unit to be trained as a firefighter.
Cars 2?
Not Cars.
Planes.
Planes. Fire and rescue. Yes. Jude, I had a young child. I watched all these terrible, terrible Cars spin-off movies. God, they were bad. They were so bad. Number 5. A growing nation of genetically evolved beings is threatened by a band of human survivors.
At first, I was going to say Lincoln. I was like, this sounds like Lincoln. Maybe it'll be,
Apes.
I hate every ape I see, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
Yeah, Planet of the is out.
Which one is this, Al?
I don't know.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Rise?
Nope, it is Dawn.
Quest?
Dawn. It's
they should have numbered these two, man.
The Planet of the Apes reboots was really confusing because the naming conventions made no sense as far as which one was first or second. Yeah. Number 4. Wow, I forgot this movie existed. Okay. Having endured a series of labors, a Greek demigod has his life as a sword for hire tested when the king of Thrace and his daughter seek his aid in defeating a tyrannical warlord. Starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I mean, it sounded like a Hercules movie.
It's called Hercules. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson played Hercules. I completely forgot that happened.
Huh. The Greek Samoan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could dig it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Opening this week up against Guardians. The Chronicle of James Brown's rise from poverty to one of the most influential musicians in history, starring Chadwick Boseman.
Wow. It's called Get On Up, right?
It is. Get On Up. Chadwick Boseman is James Brown.
Oh, he killed it.
I have not seen this, but wow.
And it's early James Brown years, so it was probably a little easier. But yeah, he did a great performance. That's a hard man to portray.
Mm,
Without being a caricature.
yeah. Oh God,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Recently saw him in an interview. His first of all, his neckerchief was fucking off the chain.
Yeah.
And he wasn't talking nonsense, not in any way, and not any sort of like weird stream of consciousness. But they answered every question. I'm James Brown, baby. Like, well, why do you think you do? She just wasn't getting it. I'm James Brown, baby. Here you get right down. I got a brand new bag. I want to get on the good foot, and we're gonna Atlanta News interview.
I am James Brown.
Hello, baby. I am
I am-
James Brown.
I am
Yes.
James Brown.
James Brown
Was
is
James Brown a
dead.
Groot?
Yeah. Coming in at number 2 this week, a woman accidentally caught in a dark deal turns the tables on her captors and transforms into a merciless warrior evolved beyond human logic.
Logic.
This is a movie that's
Why'd you
based
use that name?
that's based off a basically the concept of this movie is like based off a common saying that's completely wrong. We got ScarJo and Morgan Freeman.
Oh.
Oh, I always thought this was her. What is this?
Is this the one where like she was born to fight her?
It's Lucy.
Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her was Joaquin
Pyramid.
Phoenix, where she plays Siri, basically.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I remember seeing Guardians of the Galaxy after leaving this movie, and I always thought it was her.
No, it's
I mixed
it's
them up in
Lucy.
my brain.
Well, yeah, because I mean, yeah,
It's
but
ScarJo.
her was pretty good. Her was
Yeah.
that was a what's his face, the Ian John Malkovich guy. What's his face?
Spike
what's the direct-
Jones.
Spike Jones. Her was Spike Jones. Lucy was. It's basically it's we only use 10% of our brains. The movie, which is not true. We do not only use 10% of our brains.
Some of us do by
Wow.
choice.
Yeah. And number 1 this week, a group of intergalactic. I'm on a quest to destroy the remaining 90% of my brain in a futile attempt to
Yeah.
deal with the other people that are only
It's
using
another-
10%.
It's another expression where there's just so much to unpack.
But yeah, yes.
What are you even talking about?
Willis.
90%. Like use. What does it mean? Use 10%.
Yeah.
What does that mean? We don't use 90. It's been proven. This guy over here on the left, he does this shit.
All right, and number 1, a group of intergalactic criminals must pull together to stop a fanatical warrior with plans to purge the universe. Purge Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
And that is our box office top 10. Mr. Alaric Weber,
Hi.
how are you doing, Al? You ready? Are you ready to educate us on these intergalactic riffraff?
I will try.
Thank you, Al.
Okay. The original Guardians of the Galaxy team debuted in Marvel Superheroes number 18, January of 1969. They were created by Arnold Drake, penciled by Gene Colan.
And how many of the current Guardians of the Galaxy from this movie were on that team, Al?
0.
Thank you.
Okay. The original team consisted of Vance Astro, a psychokinetic mutant from Earth,
Vanstro.
Martinex Tanaga, a crystalline being from Pluto, Captain Charlie 27, a soldier from Jupiter, and Yondu Odanta, a blue-skinned noble savage from Centauri 4.
Oh, noble savage is not a good phrase.
It's a very strange choice.
This team existed in the 31st century. I believe they were depicted as being the last of their respective races. And they were primarily fighting reptilian aliens called the Badoon.
Yeah, and
Who-
so just side note, the Sicarians, which were working for Ronan in this movie, the Sicarians being Sakaar being the planet that Jeff Goldblum rules in Thor Ragnarok.
Right.
The Sicarians were originally supposed to be Badoon, but apparently there were rights issues. The Badoon might have been owned by Sony at this point. Anyways, Al.
Despite strong sales of their first appearance, the team would not be seen again for 5 years. First making appearances in other titles, then getting their own short-lived series in 1976 in Marvel Presents, then relegated again to guest spots until 1979, and they employed time travel to interact with such characters like Captain America and Thing and so on. The Guardians were revived again in 1989 following the popularity of Star Trek The Next Generation. They thought, hey, space.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Sure, let's do this.
Yeah.
The Guardians' first self-titled comic launched in June of 1990 and ran for 62 issues, with writer-artist Jim Valentino giving the series an action-oriented, fun feel in contrast to the typical grim and gritty comics of the 90s. The team would take on new members and employ time travel to interact with present-day Marvel heroes. In 2008, a new Guardians team was formed by the creative team of Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, using existing and previously unrelated characters, debuting together as part of Marvel's Annihilation Conquest crossover storyline.
And that is the modern team that we know now, right?
The new members, the original members of the new team, included Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, Gamora, Drax the Destroyer, Phyla-Vell, and Adam Warlock.
Pete Best.
Isn't Phyla-Vell Drax's daughter, I think? It's been years since I've read that run.
I forget.
It'd be funny if they went up.
No, Moondragon was Drax's daughter.
Moondragon, thank you.
So this was Volume 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. That would exist for 25 issues from May 2008 to June 2010, again canceled. The Guardians would appear a couple times prior to 2014, and Star-Lord and Rocket were given solo series to tie in with the movie.
Real quick. Phyla-Vell is also known as Quasar.
Yeah.
It was unclear as to whether in WandaVision, what's her face was going to become Quasar or what was it? Was Photon?
Photon.
But or Photon. So, but yes, Quasar. She's associated most with Captain Marvel at this point. Sorry, Al, continue.
Al, do you have the 90s lineup in your list of folks? Because I think Gamora and Drax are the only 90s or late 80s, early 90s folks. Adam Warlock was in there. Maybe Phyla-Vell?
The original 90s, well, it included the four original, and there were three others that I can't quite remember. They weren't big names.
Because that all tied into like Infinity Watch, I'm pretty sure. It's been a long time since I've read those comics. It's been 5 or 6 years.
Yes, Drax and Gamora did tie in to Infinity Watch at some point, but they were not part of the Guardians team until 2008.
Yeah.
The popularity of the movie led to a full revival of the team, The title is currently in Volume 6, running from March 2020 to present. The Guardians would see several new members over the years, including Mantis, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Kitty Pryde, Thing, that's Ben Grimm Thing, Ant-Man, Nova, Doctor Doom, and Cosmo the Space Dog.
Woo.
Who we do get a cameo from.
Yeah. Although he does not
So-
appear to be sentient in this one.
Maybe.
I always thought he was like is that how you pronounce it? The Russian dog one?
Oh, yeah.
It was definitely modeled after Laika, the Russian space dog.
Model version.
But Cosmo doesn't speak. He is a telepath. So he very well could have been communicating telepathically with Rocket when we see him.
Good point. Yeah.
So the characters from this movie, Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, first appeared in Marvel. First appeared in Marvel Preview number 4, January of 1976, created by Steve Englehart and Steve Gann, a human Spartoy hybrid, mostly known for his dual elemental guns, jet boots, and space helmet. Gamora, created by writer-artist Jim Starlin, first appeared in Strange Tales number 180, June of 75.
He incidentally is the creator of Thanos.
Yeah. The adopted daughter of Thanos and the last of her species, the Zen Huberis. Gamora.
I was going to say we skipped Star-Lord's father in the comics is Jason of Spartax, so he's technically like the heir to the Empire.
Yeah.
Of
Thus,
Spartax.
thus the Star-Lord
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
He also in the comics he had some enhanced physical abilities because of his alien physiology, his half alien physiology. Gamora has superhuman strength and speed, accelerated healing, and is an elite combatant. Did anyone else? I ran through these kind of quickly. Did anyone have any Gamora points from?
She was the deadliest woman in the galaxy, I think was her title in the comics. I don't know if they say that in the movie.
They mentioned that she could overcome anybody in the.
But yeah, I think that was like
In the
her
galaxy.
her she was her notoriety was that she was
Right.
the deadliest woman.
Drax the Destroyer, formerly Arthur Douglas, created by Jim Starlin and Mike Friedrich, first appeared in The Invisible Iron Man number 55, February of 1973. Arthur and his family are attacked on Earth by a spaceship piloted by Thanos. And Thanos' father, whose name was Mentor, and the Titan Kronos capture Arthur's spirit and place it in a powerful new body. Rechristened Drax the Destroyer with the sole purpose of killing Thanos.
He's literally made from the earth. They make him out of mud, like an
Golem?
ancient
Like a
story
golem,
kind
yeah.
of thing. It was
Exactly.
his run in the Infinity run of comics is really interesting. Arthur, what was his last name?
Douglas.
Arthur Douglas on Earth plays a motherfucking saxophone.
Yeah, he does.
There's some really funny shots of him playing saxophone in his memory. That's my favorite thing about his character. Sax Man from Earth, now the Destroyer.
Drax has superhuman strength, speed, and stamina, regeneration, and is a skilled swordsman and combatant. Rocket Raccoon, created by Bill Mantlo and Keith Giffen, first appeared in Marvel Preview number 7, summer of 1976. Inspired by the Beatles song Rocky Raccoon.
Mm-hmm.
In 1982, there was a story featuring Rocket in The Incredible Hulk number 271, the story titled, "Now Somewhere in the Black Holes of Sirius Major there lived a young boy named Rocket Raccoon."
That's awesome.
A raccoon half-worlder. Rocket is an expert marksman, weapons specialist, master tactician, accomplished space pilot, and genius level intellect.
Woo!
Groot. Created.
Who created Rocket in the comics? Was that the High Evolutionary?
I didn't get.
Good question.
I didn't get there.
I think so. I think it's the High Evolutionary because his whole planet. I think there's like an otter that's his girlfriend. There's a really weird early Rocket Raccoon run where it's like all furry animals that are real cute and deadly.
Huh. Well,
That's fun.
that's one of the otters, so you could be correct.
Groot was created by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, and Jack Kirby. First appeared in Tales to Astonish number 13, November of 1960.
That is impressive that he's been around so long. But I do want to point out that it's awesome it took 4 guys to come up with a talking tree.
Yeah, he was a bad guy, right? Initially?
Yeah.
Originally, yeah. The original Groot was a tree-like alien invader intending to capture Earthlings for experimentation.
Mulch.
Much like our own trees today.
A different Groot would appear in 2006 in Nick Fury's Howling Commandos, then join the Guardians of the Galaxy in 2006.
So Groot was just one of the trees in The Happening with Mark Wahlberg.
Groot is of the species Flora colossus from Planet X, whose language is nearly impossible to understand. Due to the stiffness of their larynxes, their speech sounds like they are simply repeating the phrase, "I am Groot." The Flora colossi pass on the photonic knowledge of their race by means of a highly advanced educational photosynthesis, making them a race of geniuses. Our Groot, in particular, was gifted with a tremendous grasp of quasi-dimensional superpositional engineering. Groot has superhuman strength, stamina, endurance, and senses. Groot can manipulate plants and is apparently immortal, as after seemingly dying several times, can regenerate from even a single twig. Ronan the Accuser.
First of all, I hate the character. I know he's been around a while, but that's gotta be the stupidest name for a villain.
Ronan the Accuser.
The Accuser.
Well-
it's like that's Steve the Insinuator.
Yeah, well,
No fuck with
I mean,
him.
that's essentially the Cree name for like judges. They're accusers.
Yeah,
Like-
the accusers were Kree military governors and jurists.
So
Right,
like
yeah,
so
of
kind
course.
kind of like
there was
they,
no confusion.
I think it was kind of based off like inquisitors. Like that's what they were going for.
If you met a dude, okay, take all that stuff away, and you met a dude, and everybody in the bar says that's his nickname.
Oh, the accuser. Yeah, it'd be like he's real judgy.
There was no question as to what. Yeah, he's like all the assholes at the Zod cocktail party when there's that draw.
Ronan was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, first appeared in Fantastic Four number 65, August of 1967. He is the supreme accuser of the Kree Empire. And as we said, the accusers are Kree military governors and jurists. Ronan was commonly depicted as an adversary of the Fantastic Four, Avengers, and Guardians of the Galaxy, would later become a more noble and heroic figure, joining several superhero teams and marrying the inhuman Princess Crystal.
And
That's
they
right.
finally made his birthday a holiday.
He oh god, yeah, they used to fight with what's the Mohawked group that the X-Men used to fight in space?
Oh yeah.
I remember when there was like a union between their groups. There's an interesting line of stories with that. Yeah, he's an interesting character because he is always depicted. He's like Doctor Doom, but in space. Like he is bad, and he only has his people's interest in mind, but he is willing to compromise to defeat Thanos or whatever, the Cancerverse or whatever thing that's coming up.
Were the Mohawk dudes the Centauri, like Yondu?
Yes, I think so. Mate,
Maybe.
Yeah, the one I remember the most was Blue. Yeah, had the red mohawk. I think his name was Gladiator, but it could be wrong.
yeah, Gladiator is one of them.
Ronan's primary weapon is the Warhammer-like accuser Cosmerod, called the Universal Weapon. The device can absorb and fire cosmic energy, manipulate matter, generate force fields, control gravity, and create time motion displacement fields.
And he always had that dumb helmet too, right? That was always his look.
I think so. Yeah.
What was that weapon called? What were the first few words?
Cosmorod.
Cosmorod.
Cosmerod.
That's a real like.
That's a talisman connection right there. He's got.
And I always love when they're searching for items of power that seem they seem like nothing compared to the stuff they already have. I'm like, that hammer's pretty cool, Steve the Insinuator.
Real quick, some other characters. So Yondu would show up in present timeline. He was involved with Peter Quill in the fashion we see in the movie, but it would turn out that he was the great something grandfather of the Yondu from the original Guardians team.
Well,
from the 31st century.
Okay.
Yeah, can I just say, and I know I'm not alone, Yondu is one of the best characters in the MCU.
Oh yeah, yeah. Michael Rooker brought a lot to this dude.
Oh yeah, I mean he's never lazy. He never phones it in. But wow, yeah. Great character.
Since there are a few more, I just went with first appearances. Nebula first appeared in Avengers number 257, July of 1985. Korath the Pursuer first appeared in.
That's what I meant.
Quasar number 32, March of 1992. The Nova Corps was first seen in Fantastic Four number 205, April of 1979.
Yeah. Well, and just real fast, the Nova Corps is basically Marvel's answer to the Green Lantern Corps.
Yes.
As far as in the comics.
Yeah.
Just a helmet instead of a ring.
Garthon Saul, in the comics, he would be known as Supernova. He was of the Nova Corps, but he went bad or something like that. He first appeared in Avengers number 301, 1988.
What? Wait. Was that John C. Reilly?
No.
That's
Peter
Serafinowicz.
Serafinowicz.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What was John C. Reilly's name? Something Day.
It was. I have to look through to find out.
I didn't write anything down about him, but I did see his name pop up. So the name at least is from the comics. So just a minor Nova character.
That's cool. Yeah. That just makes things a little better, but it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, you're right. He played it perfectly. Yeah, good character.
Roman Day.
Okay,
that's his name.
And Tanelier Tivan, the Collector, first appeared in The Avengers number 28, May of 1966.
He is an Eternal, right? Or what is he? I forget.
Well, he is. You got something now?
I have it on Safari somewhere. I kept these tabs open just in case. Let's see. He
is an Elder of the Universe. That's what he is. So like the Gardener.
He controls the power primordial, to create virtually unlimited effects. Interesting. Oh, yeah. He's
yeah.
one of the elders of the universe.
Like the Grandmaster is another one too.
All right. So yeah. So basically, he's so old that he got bored and decided to take up a hobby.
Yeah.
Of collecting things.
Yeah. Ego is one of the elders of the living planet too,
Yeah.
or elders of the whatever.
So not. Well, wait. I mean, so is Ego a celestial?
In our MCU, yes. In the Marvel comics, he is
No.
an elder.
Gotcha. Okay.
These are the people that Thanos stole the Infinity Stones from, a few of them at least,
Yeah.
in the Infinity Gauntlet in the 90s.
They all have fun names like architect, astronomer, challenger, contemplator. Father Time is one of them. Judicator, profiteer, runner. So it like their names are their occupations or something.
So no spoilers for the Eternals. This is what I expect them to kind of shift the Eternals and these guys together to kind of answer some of these questions about the differences, like Ego being a celestial but not a celestial in the big way that celestials are big.
Right. But yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's something which we will of course explore more in Guardians 2 and Eternals and eventually we get there. So is that all we got then, Al?
That was all I wrote down.
All righty. Thank you very much, sir. That brings us to the film production itself. Guardians of the Galaxy was first announced at Comic-Con 2012. Directed by James Gunn, who we have spoken about before. See our Super episode. It was directed by James Gunn, written by James Gunn, and Nicole Perlman also has a writing credit. She was enrolled in the Marvel script writing program in 2009. And she basically, people in that program were given the opportunity to take properties which weren't being developed. And she chose Guardians of the Galaxy. Her original draft was very hewed a lot closer to the comics. Star-Lord was the son of Jason. In her version, basically what happened was they brought Joss Whedon in. This is in between Avengers and Age of Ultron. She brought Joss Whedon in, and he said, well, we've got to take this out. We've got to, he basically changed it around and said, make it a lot weirder. And then at that point, James Gunn came in and Joss Whedon dropped out of the rewrite, though some of his work, uncredited, does remain in the script by accounts. But James Gunn rewrote the entire thing top to bottom, with just bits and pieces of Nicole Perlman's and Joss Whedon's contributions left in.
I think the removal of Spartax really, really helped shape and limit the scope of the Marvel universe in a positive way, because they are the superpower in the galaxy, if not the universe. And having Earth be less important would have been a bad thing, I think. And having Xandar be like they're like the sheriffs of the outskirts of the universe makes some sense too. There are interesting choices that they use that really limited the scale, rather than just blowing the universe open to Marvel comic book size where it's like limitless.
Yeah, that was a definite decision they made, and I think it, like you said, I think it really helped out a lot.
I can't imagine an in-game and an Infinity War with, Spartax or even the Nova Corps being involved. Like that, we'll get there, but like having these otherworldly military forces fighting Thanos on Earth would have been weird.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been. All right, yes, this we've got in our cast Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. Star-Lord originally, apparently, James Gunn had a lot of trouble casting this. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was up for the part, as was Zachary.
He looks the part, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah. Zachary Levi was up for this part, and James Gunn almost cast Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny, which that would have been interesting.
Would have been bonkers, but cool. That would have been a cool choice.
Yeah, it would have been really cool.
He initially declined Chris Pratt like multiple times, right? Isn't that the story? Like he said no to every reading that he did. Like, nah.
Right. Well, no. So what happened was, so he almost cast Glenn Howerton, but his casting director convinced him to audition Chris Pratt for the role, and he was not impressed with Chris Pratt's work. But then during the audition, Chris Pratt blew him away, and he was basically like, "Okay, yeah, that's our Star-Lord."
Yeah, I think there were two. He got a second run at the role. I remember hearing a discussion with the casting person talking about that, saying like, we almost passed on this guy, which is crazy.
Yeah. Although, again, I think Chris Pratt or Glenn Howerton would have been a really interesting choice. It would have been different, but I think he could have worked. Zoe Sald. Oh, and Chris Pratt, of course. He'd been kicking around the lower reaches of the doing a lot of like guest shots. He was in the OC for a little while. His big break was Parks and Rec, playing Andy Dwyer, which he was great. He was great in Parks and Rec. Everything else about Chris Pratt aside, Andy Dwyer is a great character.
Yeah.
And Andy Dwyer and Aubrey Plaza, it's basically what happens if a cat and a dog get married.
Yeah, totally.
He had the best, I think the best line of Parks and Rec in general. And Michael Schur said it was his favorite line of the entire series that Chris Pratt ad-libbed, which is when what's her face was sick.
Yes,
sometime. He was looking it up.
favorite.
Yeah, he was looking up, and he says, "It says I just Googled your symptoms, and it says you may have network connectivity issues." So all right, Zoe.
Every summer he used to go to his best friend's house, his best friend's cabin on a lake. His friend's name was David. He's like, we just got to be like, go to Camp David, talk and work it out. Ben's like, how do you know about Camp David? How do you know about Camp David?
Zoe Saldana as Gamora. Let's see. She started out doing guest roles on TV. Then her let's see, here she was in Get Over It, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. She was in The Terminal. Of course, she she played. Let's see, she was Uhura. She was Uhura in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek. She was in Avatar, where she played a blue lady instead of a green lady. She was Book of Life. Oh, she voiced Captain Kaleno in the My Little Pony movie. So she's one of those people that I don't actually know. I can't remember what she actually ever looks like. I always just picture her as being green or blue.
I still picture her as Uhura.
She was.
The most true to life representation of her.
Yeah, I watched the first one of those once. I watched Into Darkness, and then I kind of just gave up because I don't know. That's not my Star Trek. It's just not. Dave,
No.
about
Yeah, I don't think it was supposed to be though.
yeah, it's yeah. The J.J. Abrams Star Treks are not something I particularly enjoy. Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer. Of course, he was a professional wrestler. This was kind of his big movie break. Let's see. Since then, he is. Let's see. Oh well, let's see. He was in Smallville. He was in an episode of Smallville. He was in Spectre. Which, wait, has Spectre been out yet? That came out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, wasn't that the first name?
Oh, that was the first one. Yeah, no, I'm thinking of two.
Time
Too
to Die.
Day to Die.
No
or
Time to Die. That's right.
No
Yeah,
Time to
Spectre
Die.
was the first one. That's right.
I'm very excited about that.
He was in Spectre. Yes. And Army of the Dead. He's apparently going to be in Knives Out too.
Even more knives.
Knives Out was a great movie.
He was in Blade Runner.
Oh my god.
2049.
Oh, Blade Runner 2049. That's right.
He was absolutely incredible in it and just said so little. But yeah, physically, dude is a great actor.
Yeah, strangely good. I think, honestly, I mean, he's the second most. I'd say he's probably the second most successful pro wrestler turned actor after The Rock.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you didn't see Stone Cold Steve Austin in the remake of The Godfather, did you?
Oh, although John Cena.
Oh, yeah,
Cena's
John
doing
Cena.
pretty
I was
well
just gonna
himself.
say John Cena is very entertaining.
I don't think he's as successful as Dave Bautista, though.
No, but he's starting to get there after
Yeah.
the Suicide Squad.
Well,
He's getting there.
Friend of China.
and
Yeah.
I read an article recently where he basically said Drax. Oh yeah, because it was when people were suing Disney, not specifically ScarJo. He wasn't talking about anyone, but he was talking about how getting the role of Drax saved his life. Like
Mhm.
he was applying for jobs at grocery stores and restaurants and shit when he got this deal.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Man.
he was almost completely destitute. So his attitude, again, he wasn't speaking to anyone particularly, but he's just like, I'm extremely grateful. Disney saved my life. You know,
It's interesting. I read an interview with him recently where he was, I forget what role he was talking about. He took a role recently that is really like playing to his chops as an actor, and he was saying it's totally different from being Drax in a Marvel movie where all I do is say stupid stuff constantly. So
Yeah.
he's got a complex view on his role as this character and his place in the community of actors in the Marvel universe. He threatened to quit and not come back when they fired James Gunn. He was the first one to back up James Gunn. That was
Yeah.
like a prominent person.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because he didn't play Drax in the in What If either. He's one of the few who didn't.
Yeah.
And then complained that they didn't ask him. They claimed they did ask him.
I read
Right.
about that, and they reached out to his agents. They didn't reach out to him directly because that was there was a whole big to do about that. But basically, they said we reached out to everybody through the manner that we had to reach out to them.
Yeah.
The thing that's kind of frustrating about that is he did ads for Disney Plus that were aired along with the running of What If as himself, basically playing a dude in a canoe watching streaming TV. But how frustrating is that to advertise for this thing and be like, dude, you guys never asked me to do the cartoon thing? I love playing this role. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we mention that he was in Dune?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Holy
that's
crap.
right. Bautista's in Dune. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Wanna hearken in?
Yeah. So, all right, we got Vin Diesel as Groot. Vin Diesel, best known, of course, for the Fast and the Furious at this point. His first film role was in Awakenings in 1990.
The Robin Williams?
Yes, exactly.
And Robert De Niro. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Williams and Darren. Yeah, that was his first role. It was an extra role.
It won all kinds of Oscars. It's a fantastic movie based on a true story.
Yeah. But then Vin Diesel wrote, directed, and produced a short film called Multifacial, which Steven Spielberg saw somehow.
What do you mean somehow? At 3 a.m, somebody sent him a link.
Right. And so he cast him in a small role in Saving Private Ryan. I think we all forget sometimes Vin Diesel was in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
From there, let's see, he got voice work as the Iron Giant. He was in Boiler Room. Then he was in Pitch Black, The Fast and the Furious, Triple X. I sometimes forget Triple X existed. That's a franchise that died.
Yeah, and Pitch Black, right? Those are
Pitch
Oh
Black.
no, that's a different franchise. I just always get them all
Yeah.
mixed up because it's just
Yeah.
Vin Diesel playing Vin Diesel.
Being Vin Diesel, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
remember visiting my mom once down in Green Valley, and she was like, "Triple X is on the HBO. Do you want to watch it?" It's like, and I think that was the second time she had brought up a Vin Diesel movie. I think the previous, not very long before that, we had watched Pitch Black together, and after she brought up Triple X, it's like, "Mom, do you have a thing for Vin Diesel?" And she watched a little bit.
He's a handsome dude. He's got a cool voice.
It's the way people of a certain age can find a Jason Bourne movie at any time on TV.
Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon.
Hank, real quick, I wanted to mention as I was going through this, Vin Diesel was the voice of Groot in that Wreck-It Ralph movie.
Oh, yes. Wreck-It Ralph breaks the internet. Vin Diesel also insisted on doing all of Groot's voice work for all of the foreign versions of this, all of the foreign language versions of Guardians of the Galaxy. So no matter what language you're watching Guardians of the Galaxy in, it is Vin Diesel as Groot.
Yo soy Groot.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I got to give him a little bit of credit for that because I still consider this to be the easiest paycheck in Hollywood history.
Oh my god, I believe it's genius level intellect.
For real though.
His idea or his agent's idea or what, but that's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
That contract negotiation.
Well, yeah, but also like he only had to say "I am Groot" like 5 times, but he insists on doing it over and over again for every single line reading.
Yeah.
Every time he's in a movie, every time he's in anything, he goes in to re-record. So
And I'm sure there's enough "I am Groots" out there that they don't need to, but he still does it.
Oh, after he said it once or twice, they didn't need him anymore.
I disagree because I think he reads it differently every time.
But he could have gone in and done 30 minutes of "I am Groot" in different ways, and they could have just reused any of those. But he does it fresh for each one.
Yeah,
give us an angry "I am Groot" or a sad "I am Groot." Yeah.
That was it. Yes, exactly what it. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So, all right, Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon. His first role was in as a guest star in Sex and the City. His first film role was Wet Hot American Summer, which is a great movie.
Well, yeah, the movie's wonderful, and his character and portrayal is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. He first really got noticed in Alias, which he had a recurring role for 5 years. Wedding Crashers, and then of course what put him into the A-list was The Hangover. Since then, Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle, American Sniper, and of course, he's halfway to an EGOT due to A Star Is Born. He got Grammys and Oscars for Shallow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us not forget the 18.
Oh, 18. That's right. He played Face, didn't he?
Yeah. Temple Peck.
Yep. Then let's see. We've got Lee Pace as Ronan the Accuser. Lee Pace, of course. Yeah, no, Lee Pace.
No, I know. I don't know who he is. Never
I love Lee
mind,
Pace. He's
never
one of my
mind, for
favorite
the love of
television
God.
actors.
Yeah. No, yeah, Lee Pace is let's
What's
see.
he on, Grey's Anatomy or something?
No,
Uh,
he was in Wonder Falls. He was great in that. Pushing Daisies, Halt and Catch Fire.
Halt and Catch Fire. He is absolutely incredible. The dude is the best part of that show. Him and the chick from Transformers, the newer Transformers, Mackenzie Davis, and Scoot
Yeah.
McNairy. That is a cool show about like technology. Yeah,
hmm
All right.
that
well,
that no one watched.
stand corrected.
Yeah. Lee Pace. He was
I
also.
made
Let's see.
fun of
He pla-
Elvis in 1957.
let's see. He was in Lincoln. He played Thranduil in the
Hobbit.
Hobbit movies.
He is currently playing Cleon in the Foundation show on Apple.
Oh yeah.
And he's really cool as that role.
He plays Heinrich Himmler in Robot Chicken. Which
What?
yes,
Oh
he
my God.
plays Heinrich Himmler in Robot Chicken.
Himmler. Okay, let's see some images of the guy. Not all dressed up.
He's all eyebrows.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
Yeah, I don't recognize this guy. No.
Yeah, Michael Rooker as Yondu. Of course, we've discussed Michael Rooker several times previously. Karen Gillan as or Gillan, I don't know, as
Gillan?
Nebula.
She was one of the doctors.
This just looks like Joe.
Yep.
One of our producers. Okay, Leap Pace.
Yeah, Karen Gillan as Nebula. She is what like you said, she played Amy Pond on
that's right,
Doctor Who.
One of his companions.
Yeah, one of the Doctor Who companions. I like Karen Gillan a lot. She's
Same. She killed it on Doctor Who.
she was really great. Yeah.
She's fantastic as Nebula, a dynamic, important character. And a lot of times you hear about celebrities like, I'm not going to wear a mask the whole movie. I'm not going to wear a costume the whole movie. And in the MCU, you've never seen her real face, and that's just badass for her. So
Well, and
method acting. And,
yeah, she shaves her head every time she comes in to do Nebula.
Yeah.
She's also, of course, in the Jumanji sequels.
Isn't she super Scottish?
She's British. Is she
Yes.
Scottish? She has a very thick accent. Yes.
Yeah, it's
And
weird to hear her in real life, like more so than like Tom Holland and people like that. Where I'm like, holy shit, you hide your accent. Like it's not just doing a voice; it's like
She does such a good American accent. As
they
Nebula.
look just like us. You can't even tell. I'm not joking. Watch out.
That was a Centauri accent.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Al.
South or West Centauri.
It just happens to sound very American.
We've got Jimon Honsu as Korath. We've talked about him numerous times.
So he's a Kree, right?
yes,
No. Wait.
Yeah.
Is Korath?
yeah,
Yeah,
Korath is
Because he's
Kree.
in Captain Marvel, but I was just making sure because, and I think it's cool. But they're one of the species that have multiple races like we do on Earth.
Yeah.
There are
That's kinda
pink and
cool.
blue and black Kree.
Yes.
Right?
in the
that-
MCU,
that
at
are
least.
actual Kree. They're not just people that live on Xandar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
John C. Reilly as Roman Day. Has John C. Reilly come up on this before? I don't feel like we've done him before.
I think so.
Dr. Steve Brule.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Dewey Cox.
Yeah, Angus.
Oh my
Rick-
God, Dewey Cox.
Yeah, Dewey. What the whole thing about smoking pot with Craig Robinson.
Oh, no, with shit. Tim Meadows, not Tim Meadows.
Craig.
No, it was Tim. But yeah, so fuck you. Like, you ain't ready for this, and then it keeps escalating to cocaine. It's just perfect. I love her.
Oh, no, wait.
She's like,
Is it?
"You're." Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, maybe it is Tim Meadows that he does that with.
I think it is.
Yeah, where he's
Yeah.
like, you don't want to smoke it. Why? Does it make you addictive? It's not addictive.
He's all, I don't want to freak me. Yeah, it makes sex even better. It's the cheapest drug there is. It's non-habit forming.
I kind of think I do want to try it.
I think maybe I want to try it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And then of course Step Brothers. But I mean, his big break was probably Boogie Nights.
Yeah, for sure.
He's John C. Reilly. Glenn Close as Nova Prime.
My favorite, yeah, one of my favorite Dewey Cox is he's arguing with Kristen Wiig, who's his young teen wife. She's belittling him. He's like, I think I'm doing all right for a 15-year-old with a house and a kid.
Right? Yes. Glenn Close as Nova Prime. Glenn Close and her 72 words, which she spoke in this movie.
She looked great.
Her and John Riley in these roles are kind of befuddling, considering that they never return.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
I think they're coming, but I think there's no
No,
record coming back.
I think Thanos killed them all when he
I think
got
so
this
too.
When he
Infinity
kills
Stone.
Xandar.
So
Yeah.
James Gunn has been pretty adamant about not using Nova as a character in these movies. Because that's the regular question, because you have the Nova Corps and you have Xandar and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But in the Nova storyline, Nova Prime lives in his helmet. He is the last remaining member of the Nova Corps. So it would be really cool to have Glenn Close as the voice of Nova Prime in, Timothy Oliphant's head or whoever becomes Nova.
Because it was like a Green Lantern thing, right?
Yeah.
It would transfer.
And there's a young Nova and the Young Avengers. So I mean, there's a lot of possibility for Glenn Close to just become the voice in someone's head.
Okay. But yeah, it's interesting.
But John C. Reilly's totally dead.
Yeah, John C. Reilly is 100% dead. Benicio del Toro as the Collector. And we got Josh Brolin as Thanos. His first appearance as Thanos.
Finally.
And
with the actual actor, I mean.
Yeah, with Josh Brolin.
With a different voice actor and everything too, and there was a different guy in a Thanos mocap at one point in Avengers too, right?
In the first in Avengers, in the first Avengers movie, it was a different dude. Got Josh Brolin right here as Thanos. I'd forgotten how much Thanos we had in this movie.
I forgot how much as well. They set up an awful lot.
Yeah. Let's see. And Alexis Denisov was back as the other. Ophelia Lovabond as Karina. That's the Collector's servant. Peter Serafinowicz as Denarian. And Laura Haddock as Meredith Quill, who played Steve Rogers' date in the first Avenger. So people do theorize that she was not human and was in fact living on Earth as an alien, but that hasn't been confirmed by anybody.
Yeah, James Gunn has been pretty adamant that she was human when she died.
Yeah.
He has lately been just like batting down rumors on Twitter. It's been pretty funny to watch.
Yeah. There's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie, like a lot. More than in your standard MCU movie.
And there is one that has yet to be found.
Wait. But that last one, he said, I think that last one was found. I think he confirmed on Twitter at some point that it was, and it was the thing with the
locations.
The locations, yeah.
Really?
I think that was the one that he was previously saying hadn't been found.
I thought that it was still out there. I thought that there's one that he's like, nope, nobody's found it yet. But maybe that may be the case.
Maybe there's that one out there. So, I mean, I don't know. Do we want to do the Easter eggs now or after we do the movie?
We can do them after.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do them afterwards. So, all right. That's about it for...
if they answer any questions or relate to anything.
Yeah. So that about covers our production. I grabbed a couple quick bad reviews of it, which were by these are actual newspaper reviews or website reviews when it came out in 2014. Matthew Lacona of Variety says the dialogue is weak. The story is paint by numbers. The characterization is short on personality and heavy on chuckle fishing. But for better or worse, Chris Pratt throws himself headlong into his play to become a new generation's Han Solo. Also with Zoe Saldana, which was why I got
What was his line? The joking what?
chuckle fishing.
Chuckle fishing?
Yes.
That is now my official name for stand-up comedy.
Chuckle fishing.
Comics. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start calling you Chucklefish.
Awesome. The nickname I've been waiting for.
Yeah. Kyle Smith.
All my life I've had Cheech. I don't even seem like Cheech Marin at all. Never mind.
But now it's Chucklefish. Kyle Smith of the New York Post wrote, Guardians of the Galaxy brings to mind some of the most unforgettable sci-fi event movies of the past 30 years. Alas, those movies are Howard the Duck and Green Lantern. Which that's... Wow.
I mean, it's definitely the first movie that's reminded me of Howard the Duck in the MCU.
Yeah, because he's in it. Yeah, Seth Green, by the way, plays Howard the Duck in the post-credits scene.
That's fantastic, and he repeats that line, and yeah, it's perfect.
So, all right.
That was in the original, right? You let it lick your face. That's disgusting.
Oh yeah, that was in the Howard the Duck movie. Yeah.
I thought, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you let it lick you like that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, guys, are you ready to jump into the movie?
I just need that guy's eye first.
Here we go. This is Guardians of the Galaxy. We open on Earth, 1988. Peter Quill is a child listening to an awesome mix on his Walkman in a hospital. His mother's deathly ill. She gives him a wrapped gift, then she dies.
And we've mentioned it before, but the importance of that Walkman, and at that age, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just his mom's mixes, but like that was a prized possession for so many of us.
Oh yeah, Walkmans were very important in the late 80s.
And this movie does a great job. The music, I'm going to bring up the music 1,000 times in this movie, but the music is the first thing that we hear or experience in this movie. It is the synthesizers at the beginning of that song
playing I'm Not in Love.
Right.
And with the heartbeat sound behind it, that thump 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 thump. It is such a cool way to start a Marvel movie.
It comes before the Marvel it comes before anything. It comes before the Marvel logo.
And it's actually the same for everyone, but my mother passed early on in my life, and nothing connects me more to her or to her memory than music.
Yeah.
Memories we have together, songs I heard her play all the time, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the perfect thing. Yandu can't take that. Like nobody can take that, you know.
Yeah.
Mom and I used to sing that in the car.
I literally watching this movie in the movie theater. I mentioned I just went in by myself on a whim to go see it. 5 minutes into this movie, I'm like weeping in my chair, and I'm like, God, son of a bitch! I expected a talking raccoon in a tree. Why am I crying at this woman dying of cancer?
I cried a couple weird times.
Yeah, but yeah, right off the bat, this movie hooks you emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say cry. I didn't bawl. But when you compare it to other MCU movies that preceded it, there was nothing close to the emotional reaction as to what Galaxy did.
Yeah.
This is to me the emotional like peak of the entire MCU.
Yeah. Definitely. So all right. In his grief, Peter runs outside, where he immediately gets abducted by aliens.
Because that's how it goes down. And I'm not being ironic or a joke.
Yeah. Well, and
they just take you and then bounce.
And this is when they hit us with the Marvel logo and the Marvel music, the fanfare and all that stuff. Like, what a cool da-da-da-da-da-da. Like just the musical beat of this. Like, we haven't had any orchestration until this moment.
And they updated it. So like at one point there's a flash and you can see Black Panther's staff, you know.
Yeah. Yes, it's the new Marvel logo. Like,
Yeah.
they're really opening up the world, I think, at this point.
I love them so much.
I don't know if anybody else. This is a new thing that just happened. I texted you guys about this, but did anybody else watch the IMAX version on their TV at home?
Yes. Yeah, I watched it.
Half of it, yes.
It's such an incredible difference. I think some of these space shots and like the opening logos and things were done in full IMAX.
And even the close-ups, like it wasn't like cake down bullshit. It was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
This movie still looks great. Looks
The whole
really,
thing
really good.
looks great. The
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
thing looks so good.
So, all right. We get a credit sequence. We cut to the planet Morag 26 years later. Peter finds an artifact. It's a mysterious orb. Just as he retrieves it, he's interrupted by Korath and his men. Peter flees and is able to escape them in his ship.
Again, music, man. We are experiencing the music in this movie through Peter Quill's first-person perspective because he is wearing the headphones.
Those Sony headphones.
Yeah, those cheesy orange foam, crappy headphones, man. But yeah, it's such a cool perspective that we don't get in anything else.
I love the video game feel of the first scene on Morag after he puts the music on, but just like dungeon raiding.
Yeah.
Raiding a dungeon.
Tomb raiding.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And it calls to mind the first scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's like,
and the callback to it is just done perfectly because it totally makes sense when he's alone. We all sing with our headphones on.
Are you talking about in Endgame?
Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, in Endgame. So what I was going to say is the perspective of watching someone dance and sing, but you can't hear what they're dancing and singing.
Yeah, that was.
There's comedy in that inherently.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and on his ship, we meet Barit, a one-night stand that Peter forgot about.
We get the first glimpse at his weapons, the gravity grenade thing, and then just his blasters, and his little ankle jets.
Which I have to say, very interesting uses of technology in this, like the gravity bomb thing, and then it's not like your typical like explosions. Like they actually do interesting things as weapons.
Well, you can tell that they're used by thieves, not killers.
Yeah.
His guns, they never gave him a name. Didn't talk about the technology behind his two pistols. When I was doing the research, they called them elemental guns. And they didn't always shoot the same thing throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
They change.
The blasts will be different colors. Or
in the comics, like the gravity effect of the gravity grenade thing, that's one thing that his gun can do is he can draw things to him by creating like a beam of like a tractor beam, basically. They answer all kinds of problems in the comics.
Yeah. Barit, by the way, is a comic character. The one night stand. She's an intergalactic pop star in the comics.
Awesome.
And she first appeared in The Rampaging Hulk #1, January of 1977.
I know they love to have multiple titles for the one character, but that's a good one. What's that title again?
The
Rampaging Hulk. It says that her race is Krylorian.
Krylorian me a river.
All right, so Peter gets a call from Yondu, the alien Ravager who kidnapped Peter when he was a child. Yondu's angry that Peter took the orb. That was supposed to be a Ravager job. The whole team was supposed to be on it. Peter double-crossed Yondu. He hangs up. Yondu, in his anger, puts a bounty on Peter's head.
And another Genius James gun thing. The Ravagers are space pirates, but thank goodness nobody's ever said that phrase.
Yeah, no one ever calls them space pirates.
They're a bunch of space pirates. They have a code of honor. They have a membership and such. But yeah.
Did we mention that Sean Gunn is the Ravager first mate?
We forgot to mention Sean Gunn.
Oh, yeah.
He also did stand in for a lot of the mocap.
Yeah, he's Rocket Raccoon. and
Yeah.
everything.
as well as Thanos. Apparently, he did the Thanos mocap.
He was even Calendar Man in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
He's appeared in, I think, almost all of his
Yeah.
brothers movies in one way or another.
Hmm.
And he was Weasel.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, he was
yeah,
Weasel.
he was. Yeah.
We meet Ronan the Accuser. He's interrogating a Xandarian soldier. He really hates Xandar.
He is soaking in their blood.
Yeah,
That liquid at the beginning
like
is
it gives him
Xandarian
power.
blood.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Ronan's a little intense.
Yeah.
Dude is a
That's
zealot.
way past Israel Palestine levels of anger.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what he's leaning on here in the story, is that Xandar and the Kree have this generations long feud, blood
Yeah.
feud.
Right.
You know, you murdered my father and my father's father and my father's father, and here I am. I'm going to kill you now. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
And the whole crux of it is that the Kree signed a peace treaty with Xandar, and Ronan is a rogue element of the Kree military who decides that he's going to ignore the treaty and destroy Xandar anyways. I mean, that's kind of the crux of the whole
he's
film.
General Zod.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, exactly.
His motivations are political, but it's a funny thing, these villains, if they succeed in their missions, what then?
yeah.
I blew up Xander. What now? What
Yeah.
now?
Well, I mean, the what
hobby?
I think generally the what now is like onto the next planet to destroy, whatever it may be. We meet Nebula and Gamora, the daughters of Thanos, adopted daughters of Thanos. We learned that Ronan is looking for the orb as part of a deal with Thanos.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I have another question. Is Nebula Kree?
No.
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 Do we know what she is?
Hang on. I do have it somewhere.
I just asked because she's blue.
They have her. The comics. They have her species as Lufamoid.
Mm.
You got to get the Z pack for that.
Yeah. She was, I think it was kind of the similar thing to Gamora. As a child, he destroyed her planet. Thanos probably destroyed her planet and then took her, or half the planet.
100%. As far as her backstory.
What I find interesting is that
but she's organic. She's not totally robot. Go ahead. What were you saying there?
I was just gonna say, I think it's funny that Thanos was doing his half the universe thing by hand, and the whole Infinity Gauntlet was just like he needed to find a labor saving device.
He's all about efficiency.
Yeah.
Yes,
Which, not to spoil anything from What If, he is all about efficiency.
Yes. Yes, he is.
And later on, I don't know if anybody ever noticed, but he says something to Gamora. Maybe it's when he's on that planet getting the Soul Stone, but he's like, "I saved you. Your planet was destitute, famine. You were all going to die. You were living brutally. But we know for a fact that it looked like a thriving society, and he personally takes Gamora away and off to the side.
Yeah.
He wasn't defending her life.
No,
Anyway.
not at all. So all right. We learned, so Ronan's going to give the orb to Thanos, and Thanos will destroy the planet Xandar in return. Korath reports to Ronan about the orb and Peter, and Ronan sends Gamora to retrieve the orb from Quill.
So that's the worst deal ever. Ronan accuses a moron. If he knows this orb is powerful enough to destroy Xandar, why search for it? Why find it? Why give it to Thanos? Have him destroy Xandar?
Well, he doesn't. He just knows that Thanos is trying to get this orb.
Right. Yeah, I don't think
either.
Thanos was clear that the orb is what he would use to destroy Xandar. I think just Thanos probably, even without the orb, probably could destroy Xandar if he really tried.
Which
I think
we'll get there because
he never thinks to ask.
We get our first explanation of the Infinity Stones in this movie when that's revealed. But the room that the orb is held in, when the orb is on the ground, you can see the little panel that shows the creation of the Infinity Stones. So I wonder if Ronan had gone to get it himself, he would have seen this and put it together. maybe he's
Mm.
clever enough, but Quill didn't, Korath didn't. They just
Yeah.
were in a room with a rock. They didn't look at the walls or anything. They're not archaeologists.
It just seems like, doing deals, rule number one. But let's proceed so this doesn't take forever.
Yeah. So we cut to Xandar. We meet Rocket and Groot. They're after Quill due to the bounty on his head.
40,000 units.
Yes.
And they're
Yeah.
going to be rich.
Yep.
And what a great introduction to buddies, to the
Yeah.
buddy movie vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Rocket complaining about children walking.
Yeah, I don't know if people remember Lethal Weapon 2 all that much, but it's that dynamic.
Absolutely.
And I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't drink fountain water, you
yeah.
idiot. Yeah.
It's like, why is it gross? Like, he's drinking from what's coming out of the pump. But yeah, it'd be gross too, but it's just so funny. Rocket's just so disgusted.
Yeah. So, all right, Peter tries to unsuccessfully sell the orb to his contact, who, when he finds out Thanos is involved, doesn't want anything to do with it. He gets attacked by Gamora. Rocket and Groot try to capture Peter. There's a big kerfuffle. They all end up getting arrested by the Nova Corps.
A little kerfuffle, like it was Portland for a weekend.
Yeah, well, I mean,
there's a melee.
Yeah, they fight each other. There's a bunch of fighting and running and an action sequence.
Rocket calls them fascists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's political.
We meet Nova Prime, the head of the Nova Corps. She's their outpost. The Kree government don't care. We get a lineup of prisoners. They get sent to the inescapable prison, the Kiln. There we learn that Gamora is wanted dead by all the other prisoners for being the daughter of Thanos.
The whole processing scene of them as prisoners was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's been done in a few movies, some very famous that we all know, but it was great. It's a great way to introduce them with their little rap sheet profiles, their reactions. Yeah, it was great.
So, of course, we had the Stan Lee cameo back on the streets of Xandar. He was Mr. Smiles.
Yes.
In the Kiln, there are two cameos.
Yes, there are.
Lloyd Kaufman is one of the prisoners.
Yep.
And Nathan Fillion is the voice of the big blue alien that wants to lather up Quill.
Yep,
exactly. Gets the stem, the roots up his nose.
Yeah.
We go through you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lloyd screaming. You can see him really, really well. And I just love it. I also love in every movie is when it's like somebody that somebody else really wants to brutally murder, but they're always just like, you just wait and see. And they always say that when they're standing a few feet away from each other with a knife.
Yeah.
As soon as you fall asleep, I'm going to get you. It's like, why don't you just stab him in the head right now?
So, Rocket and Groot protect Quill as they plan on escaping. They still want the bounty on him. Gamora reveals to them that she was going to steal the orb and sell it herself, betraying Ronan and Thanos. That night, we meet Drax the Destroyer, another inmate. He wants to kill Gamora because Ronan killed his family, and Gamora was working with Ronan. Quill convinces Drax that Gamora can bring Ronan to him. Rocket, Quill, and Groot all join up with Gamora to escape and steal the orb, splitting the profits. We cut to Ronan. He hears from a mole in the, or he hears through Thanos's what's his face?
Guy.
No, it's the guy that Alexis Denisoff. The other, thank you. That Gamora is betraying he and Thanos. So Thanos summons Ronan to his presence. And then at Thanos' sanctuary, he lives on like a meteor, with nothing on it.
And a chair.
Yeah.
Well, and obviously they wouldn't have known, but it's not the throne that we see later or the throne room. But yeah, he's just out there.
So this is like his getaway, it seems like, or like his meditation spot, because he runs his empire, whatever you want to call it, from a ship.
Yeah.
And the sanctuary is a different place. And we find out later on that he had the Black Order already at this point, but they're not around. Is this where he goes to get away from the Black Order because they're all dark and dramatic? And he just brings
Yeah, I
the
was
other
gonna
with
say
him to,
maybe he can't be found as easily when he's here.
yeah. Maybe the other is just his secretary also.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah.
Just brings his personal assistant with him when he goes on vacation and
It's
leaves
Mr. Smithers.
his team to run the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or it could be a flex. Like, I'm so badass, I just sit in a chair in space.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it kind of probably is some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically he warns Ronan not to fail him again and sends him back after the orb. Ronan and Gamora head to the kiln together. I mean, this scene existed only to introduce Thanos. It doesn't serve any sort of narrative purpose in this movie itself.
But I'm glad it did because it set it up. You know, we didn't know what to expect exactly. And he started portraying his version of Thanos right away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that? The tone of his Brolin voice, the attitude, the quiet, the silence, and the staring. That's such a badass villain move.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
Ronan's yelling and whining, and Thanos doesn't interrupt him, doesn't correct him. But when he's done, it's basically, okay, now if you don't do what I say, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't take serious, boy, is you.
Boy.
Yes, he
Boy.
calls him boy.
Your politics bore me. Like I've memorized the thing that he says because it is so cutting. Like
Your
you're
politics bore me. Yeah.
You are a child, and all you care about is politics.
Yep.
Or revenge, vengeance.
Yeah.
Or you don't like these people on Xandar, you know, like, yeah, and boy, you know, and we know historically that has some intense connotations.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel as as offensive. It doesn't feel offensive in this. I mean, that is some putting you in your place bullshit. You know what I mean? Like if you were in a bar and you were on the verge of a bar fight and you called the dude boy.
Oh
Be a
yeah.
bar fight. That would start the fight.
You would have to fight at that point.
You would have to fight because
them's fighting words.
Yeah, exactly. Them, if there are any, it's them's.
Well, and Thanos is just playing with his food, man. Like Ronan leaves tucked tail. Like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So much.
Sorry, sir. I'll replace your guy when I get a chance, sir. Like,
I mean, even later on when Ronan takes the stone for himself, you don't get the feeling that Thanos is in any way worried. He's just slightly annoyed.
Yeah, he's just watching the whole ceremony like, Jesus, bro. Take a breath. Chill out.
And it's that same kind of thing of like, all right, I'm gonna hire this guy and I'm gonna hire this guy, and then finally, and he uses the line like, if you want something done, you have to do it yourself.
Yeah,
and that's exactly it, and that's the look on his face, like a very angry, disappointed employer.
This is the only
I need to see you in the office.
Before Infinity War and Endgame, that we would have seen Thanos really like wreck shit, and it would have been so satisfying to see him knock Ronan down one peg and take the Power Stone from him. I'm glad we didn't.
Right.
Well, out of the large story and out of this story, it ends so funny, but like that was his one moment. That and maybe Ultron, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like him not killing the Collector, right? Did he kill the Collector? He didn't, right?
He
does. Technically, yes. I think he'd already killed the Collector because he's an illusion.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
that makes sense. All right.
Back in the prison, the four Guardians begin their prison break. Drax joins them in the chaos because he wants to stick with them to get to Ronan. They escape. They get Peter's ship. They head to meet Gamora's buyer. We learn that Gamora doesn't know what the orb really is, and they argue and get to know each other on the ship.
I loved how they just threw us into that, the prison break, because Rocket's saying, we need to do that last, but Groot's already not paying attention and grabbing it.
I love the economy of the storytelling through all this. Like, we don't get the 3 days in the prison and they're planning and everything. They're just like, nope, we're just doing it.
Yeah.
Visually, it is all happening. In a normal heist, you would have them explaining as the steps are happening. It is
Yeah,
happening
a montage. Yeah.
in that moment.
Yes.
Just behind his back. He can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was as if the camera was one of those drones, attack drones, because it was beautiful. It just moved around so fast and so much action, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
The
badass.
design of this I guess this is the cafeteria, the center of the kiln,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
being a circle around that watchtower made for
Yeah.
those shots to be possible, and it's really, really clever blocking and all that stuff.
And having them have to work together, it has such a like Great Escape or Magnificent Seven, or that Western vibe type thing.
Yeah.
We're all outlaws. We actually showed up to kill each other, but now
We're
we
gonna
need
work
we
together.
need
Yeah.
everyone to live.
And
Yeah.
I need that guy's leg.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Back on let's see, back on Xandar, Yondu's tracing Peter's steps, looking for him, trying to find out who the buyer for the orb is. We cut to the Collector, who we first met in Thor: The Dark World. The Guardians.
We just said before, I've always known him as a character. I always knew who he was, but Benicio del Toro's performance is incredible. What an interesting character. that
Yeah.
is.
What's so funny is that he seems to have forgotten 100% what he was doing in these movies by the time we get to What If,
Yeah.
because that is not the same character at all.
It's true.
Yeah. The Guardians arrive at nowhere. It's the severed head of a celestial where
How
the Collector
badass.
lives. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Well, they
mine
don't-
the
they don't
brainstem
say-
fluid.
They don't say that it's a celestial, too. They just imply it is a ancient being.
Well, she says an ancient celestial being.
Yeah. I think
does
he
she say
does
celestial?
that.
She says the word celestial in describing it. Yes.
Because if you go back, the Celestials were even before the Eternals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she doesn't specifically say it's a celestial. She describes it as an ancient celestial being.
Eon is one. I think they even say that at some point.
Yeah.
His dad wasn't it? Oh, Ego, not
Ego.
Eon.
Yeah.
that's
So
true.
yeah, Rocket and Drax get drunk and do some sort of betting.
In the cantina type scene, and I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I love that Groot really doesn't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
He's horrified.
Yes, he is.
Once he finds out, once he sees the ultimate end of the game is death, it's just like, what? I just bet on that.
Peter and Gamora flirt. Then Drax and Rocket get in a fight. It gets broken up by Peter. Then Drax stomps away in a big ol' huff. They meet the Collector, who explains that the orb contains an Infinity Stone. It's the Power Stone, to be exact. Meanwhile, Drax contacts Ronan, telling him where they are in an effort to lure him there to kill him. Meanwhile, the Collector's servant tries to take the Infinity Stone, causing a big explosion. The Guardians escape, taking the stone in the orb with them. Gamora wants to take it to Nova Corps and convinces Peter to help her. But just then, Ronan arrives. He easily defeats Drax. While the others flee by ship, pursued by Ronan's followers and Nebula, Nebula destroys Gamora's ship, leaving her floating in space. Ronan's fighters capture the orb and go away. Quill rescues Gamora, contacting Yondu with with where he is. Yondu
That was
arrives
such a
and
cool-
saves them
okay.
from dying in space.
Right, exactly. I thought that was beautiful. I thought it did evoke emotion. It was the way he saved her, the way he thought he might die. It was done very well and not cheesy. And throughout the movie, and I love critics that they just love to compare him to Harrison Ford and Han Solo, and there are elements of that. But that moment gave you that same kind of vibe as "I love you, I know."
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. He's like, the likelihood is I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna die trying to save her life.
Yeah.
It just suddenly made me think about Raiders of the Lost Ark when he surrenders to the Nazis to protect Marion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Exactly.
there's definite Harrison Ford vibes in this, but what Chris Pratt's doing and the character in general reminds me more than anything else of Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China, and a little bit Escape from New York, but mostly Big Trouble in Little China.
You're
Yeah, I can see
you're
that.
absolutely right. Yeah, Big Trouble. Yes.
There was a really cool effects bit in the chase when Peter Quill uses the pod that they're mining pods, I'm assuming,
Mhm.
Uh,
and uses it to rip open one of the necro ships
Oh
and
yeah,
then like pilots the pod inside to use the
yeah,
pod's hand to pilot the other
Right.
ship.
yeah. He's using the ship to pilot the ship. Yeah,
It
the
was
pod
pretty
to
cool.
pilot the ship. Yeah, that was very cool. In fact, another thing, like, because there's a certain kind of like douchey like dirtbagness to Star Lord in
Mhm.
this, which
Uh-huh.
again, Big Trouble, but also a little bit so Michael Douglas in Romancing the Stone. Like it's that kind of dirtbag kind of energy.
Yeah, and again, I don't entirely agree with it, but Han Solo as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
He's just in it for the money
anyway.
and to get the girl at
Right.
best.
Yeah, it's about the scheme. Rocket's the same way. You don't have to just compare him to Star Lord. It's the same kind of thing. He has a heart. He does care, but he can't care about everything. He's got to make money. He's got to get going.
What does he say when they leave the collector's den? You had that thing in your purse. Why do you still have it?
Right.
Just leave
it's not, yeah, he's like, it's not a purse, it's a knapsack.
But Rocket
It's a European
immediately
carry-all.
is like, dude, that thing's dangerous. Don't bring it with you.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the way he delivered that. Why do you still have that thing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Drax, Rocket, and Groot decide to rescue Peter and Gamora. While back on his ship, Ronan contacts Thanos, telling him he's keeping the Infinity Stone. He puts it in his Cosmorod, telling Thanos he's going to use it to destroy Xandar, and
That's
then
what
he's
I call my
coming for
dick.
him. Yeah.
When it is, I call him.
Nebula tells Ronan she's going to help him as she hates her dad.
I love their interaction. You dare challenge me? And she's like, no, dude, if you kill my dad, I'll do anything for you.
It's like when teenagers on the internet get together and scheme to get rid of one of their
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, and he is so petty, and so is Nebula. They are made for each other, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
spite and vengeance and
Mhm.
blue, you know?
So much vengeance, so much stupid, misplaced anger. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not very good, not very intimidating.
Yeah.
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 Every
I
attempt at
abuse you.
intimidation is it just fails.
Right.
Mhm.
Thanos
So-
looks him right in the eye. Yeah,
Yeah.
calls him boy.
So, all right. On the Ravager ship, Yondu is going to kill Peter, but then he and Gamora convince Yondu to help them get the stone from Ronan in return for letting him keep it.
Drax with the gun on top of the ship is one of my favorite shots in this movie. It is such an idiot baller move. Like
Yeah.
it is like the stupidest thing you could do. Stand on a spaceship with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like in part 2 when he like attaches himself with a chain or a cable.
Yes.
It's not a good plan. Why would you do it? He was all about it. No
There's
good.
a lot of complaints about Drax's characterization in these movies as being underpowered, and I really disagree with that.
I do too.
To a large extent, because we see things like he's standing in the vacuum of space, just like big swing and dick move. I've got the big gun. I'm going to point it at you.
Right.
Like, and Guardians 2 hanging on by a chain.
Right.
Like he is very, very capable. He just doesn't have the brains to follow up with this brawn.
Yeah.
But then there are scenes where he does have that brain. It's just that's the brain he has. Like they explain the metaphor thing and going over his head and
Yeah.
talking to Mantis, talking to Rocket. I don't think a single thing he's ever said it was malicious.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like being around someone that, we'll just say, has a condition where they cannot help but not have a filter.
Mhm.
Every single thing they think comes out. And yeah, I like that part of his, and he's not just brute strength. He
His
Yeah.
honesty also.
Yeah, his honesty.
Brutal honesty.
Yeah.
So all right, just
Good
then,
way to put it.
yeah. So then we get a planning Okay, no. So yeah, they rescue Drax, Rocket, and Groot arrive to rescue them. They all join up together. The Guardians do the big thing where they have the thing and they talk each other into going to do the right thing to save the galaxy.
We're
Yeah,
all
the
standing.
Goonies thing, or the everyone
Yeah.
puts their hand in. What did you say, Brian?
We're all standing.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
happy. Yeah,
No, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
And another joke at movie tropes.
Yeah, I was
Exactly.
gonna say, so aware of the tropes that they're fulfilling.
Like the putting the hands in. So many movies of everybody puts their hands in.
yeah.
Like Quill after rescuing Gamora, I just felt something inside me so heroic. I mean, objectively, like he's not wrong, but also,
Yeah. It's
why
what
are you
felt
saying
was
that?
love, you
Yeah.
fool.
Yeah. So
But yeah, standing up. Now we're all standing up. Are you happy? Does this mean more?
yeah. So we get a planning montage. If Ronan gets to the surface of Xandar with the stone, he can destroy the planet. They have to keep him from getting to the surface and touching the stone to it.
Because of the Simpsons, it's funny. His ship is called the Black Aster. It's spelled differently, but anyways, very wealthy heiress dowager, Mrs. Astor, who owned the Astor's Hotel in New York. Anyway, she was on the Titanic, and she was one of the people that survived because she was white and rich and a woman, so she got right on the boat.
Yeah, of course.
But if you notice, every now and then on The Simpsons, there'll be a bottom headline that says "Mrs. Astor safe."
Yes.
And it just every time they brought up the ship, that's all I thought of.
Yeah, well,
Mrs. Astor safe.
Yeah, because that was an actual headline in the New York Times.
That's
when
what
the
I mean.
Titanic,
But it'll appear in common time,
Yeah.
like today's newspaper.
Still safe.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
she's
all right.
dead. So the headline is great.
So Peter contacts Nova Corps, tipping them off about the impending attack. They launch their plan. They breach the Dark Aster with the Milano. Oh, FYI, named after Alyssa Milano.
Because Quill is a teenager from Earth.
Oh,
Yes,
Left
Well-
Earth in 1988. Yeah.
in
No, I
1988.
thought
I 100% did have a crush on Alyssa Milano in 1988 myself.
absolutely.
yeah.
I thought it was just referring to the delicious Pepperidge Farm cookies that he misses. So
Ronan
Those were
used-
also named after Alyssa Milano.
they
yeah.
also were exactly
Yeah.
like, who's the boss? These cookies.
Ronan uses his empowered Warhammer to destroy the Nova Corps fleet.
Come on, call it what it is. It's
The
a Cosmorod.
Cosmorod. Yeah. Drax kills Korath. Gamora defeats Nebula, who escapes. The group finds themselves outmatched by Ronan's power until Rocket
That
crashes.
was a badass escape.
Dude,
Yeah.
she rips
Right?
her own arm off.
Yeah.
I mean,
She
obviously,
is-
nobody does that. But the scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin when they're flying through the city and jumping on different cars and into different cars,
Uh-huh.
kind of had that vibe. I loved it.
Well,
Yeah.
and to me, this, not to like get too big into like the symbolism of what she's doing. She is an animal that is trapped, and she is chewing off her own limb to escape the trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And
You're
this
right.
is and
That's
this is
it.
how Nebula becomes an independent operator, but she
Yeah.
doesn't.
Because she does go back to Thanos, who, as we'll see later on, is very unhappy with her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
she
So, all right.
tried, but she also knows that nobody really tried. Gamora tried to say her, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nebula is a
Never-
deeply traumatic and flawed character that's really interesting to look at through that lens of like, what do you
But-
do when you get free? Like, sometimes you wind up back with the people who trapped you in the first place.
It's
Yeah.
Stockholm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and Nebula's arc through this into Endgame is just beautiful. She has a
Yeah.
great arc.
Oh my God, man. Oh,
and in the comics, it's intense. He basically makes her a living, decomposed body to try to impress Death.
yeah.
Because the whole storyline is Thanos is in love with Death and trying to
Yeah.
impress her, and so he basically, keeps her alive but kills her as a gift to Death.
Yeah.
And then she gets the Infinity Gauntlet in that state of mind.
Yes, you're right.
Oh, that is one. I was hoping that was going to be one of the outcomes of the storyline, but man, that
Yeah.
moment is one of my favorite moments in Marvel history.
It's crazy.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Rocket crashes Ravager ship into the Dark Aster. The damaged Dark Aster crash lands on Xandar. Groot sacrifices himself to shield the group.
Okay, so here's there weren't many places. This whole thing I teared up big time.
Yeah.
Groot sacrificing himself was one of the hardest things I've seen.
Well, Rocket sacrificing himself because Rocket didn't expect to survive
Yes.
this. He didn't shoot a hole in the ship like they did initially.
Right,
He
no.
just kamikazed into the ship.
Kamikaze, I
Probably
was
think
gonna
he's
say.
going to die
Yeah.
to save his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he's more Han Solo. He's got Groot as his Chewie, but yeah, that was a kamikaze.
yeah,
Absolutely.
If I make it through, right on. But here we go.
yeah.
He wasn't even sure any of his friends were going to survive his own attack.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah,
barreled right
yeah.
over Drax
Yeah.
at the
good
same
point.
time.
I love the shot of them like just all getting hit and Groot saving Star Lord and all that. There's a lot that happens in that moment when he hits the ship.
Yeah, there is.
That's our one slow motion moment, I think, in the whole movie.
I thought it was Star Lord who grabbed Groot and pushed him out of the way.
Is it Star Lord who grabs Groot? I think you're right. Yeah.
And there was the slow motion of
Oh, at the very end too.
oh no at the collector's place when it blew up. Groot
Oh.
ran Rocket out.
So we do get multiple. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, that and then the moon gun that they shoot Drax with, or not
Yeah.
Drax. They shoot Ronan with,
Ronan,
Yeah.
yeah.
and then again in the end when we see it again. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's a few slow-mos, but all right. So, yeah. They crash. Ronan emerges from the wreck, prepares to destroy Xandar. Peter distracts Ronan with the dance battle.
He names them.
Yeah.
Behold,
Yes.
your Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would have just been some assholes from space if he hadn't said that out loud.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he names them.
And not the universe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
cruise around as if it's a CB radio or police scanner, and they listen for shit that's going down. They're like, all right, let's check this out.
Yeah.
But they guarded this galaxy. They kept
Mhm.
this galaxy from dying.
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah. So yeah, the distraction allows Drax and Rocket to destroy Ronan's Cosmorod. Quill grabs the Infinity Stone as it flies off it, and he's going to die from its energy. But with Gamora, Drax, and Rocket grabbing his hands, sharing his burden, he uses it to vaporize Ronan. So I really like the mirroring at the beginning. He refuses to take his mother's hand. Here, he takes Gamora's hand.
And he sees his mother in this moment.
Yeah.
Right. He sees his mother in this moment, and there's a lot going on. How much he associates this love interest with his mother.
Yep.
There's a lot of psychological stuff happening there.
There definitely is. There aren't Ravager women, right?
Oh, there are. We don't
There
see
are.
them until Michelle Yeoh, I think, is a Ravager in the next movie.
Yeah. But then
in Peter's situation, he was only raised by Yondu and those kind of.
He was raised by the Lost Boys, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the mom thing, yeah, he has some stunted growth though, and a lot of regret and guilt.
Yeah,
And, that's a motivator for saving her life. It's not just romantic. It's I couldn't save my mom's life, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna die trying to save Gamora.
What I love most about this end moment, there's a lot of so when they escape from the prison, he says to Rocket, "That's a great plan." And then when they plan their defense of Xandar, he's like, "I've got like 12% of a plan," and they're all mocking him for it.
Mhm.
The way they win, there is no plan. Star-Lord improvises. It's a
Mhm.
dance-off, bro. I'm distracting you.
Yeah,
He is literally
beautiful.
Rocket is not aware.
Rocket's improvising a weapon. Just
He's
has stuff on the
improvising-
ground.
He's doing his thing. Yeah, yeah.
Everybody is improvising in this last moment, and we get Gamora who improvises this heartfelt, I don't know, Peter, take my hand, you're gonna die on your own.
Right.
It shows a lot about the Guardians of the Galaxy just kind of shooting from the hip,
Oh,
but
yeah,
sometimes that
totally.
works really well,
Well, not only does it really work, but that's another thing, about there's all the pop culture references and growing up with that shit. But also, just like Footloose, for example, we grew up watching movies where the problem was resolved with very weird ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like dance offs, like sing offs, or do you know what I'm trying to say?
And
Yeah.
that's the culture that Peter grew up with.
But that's what he grew up with, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the issue in Footloose is resolved by dancing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's one of the few movies he remembers.
Well, yeah, and it's funny
love
because well, yeah. I'll leave it for afterwards. All right, so Rocket. Let's see. Yondu insists on taking the stone. Quill gives him a fake orb. Ravagers leave. We discover that Yondu is hired to deliver Peter to his father when he was a boy, but they never did that. Rocket clutches the remaining branch of Groot while Drax pets him. I loved that moment.
Dude, the mocap, the way that they make him relax,
Yeah.
like resist and then
Mhm.
relax, and his whole tail relaxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And-
got me a little sweaty in the eyeballs.
Yeah.
Eyeballs sweaty.
Um,
And also, we don't know this now, but we learn what father Yondu is talking about.
later
Yeah.
on, yes. Yeah.
He's talking about ego. So
Mhm.
so we find out that he did save his life in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Later on, we do. Yeah. So we cut to some time later at the Nova Corps headquarters. Nova Prime tells Peter he's only half Terran. His father was an ancient unknown alien species. They
He's all
rebuilt
the
Yeah.
bottom half.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They rebuilt the Milano and expunged the Guardian's criminal records. Quill finally opens the last present he received from his mother. It's volume 2 of the Awesome Mix. The Guardians leave on the Milano, along with a potted sapling cut from Groot, which grows up into baby Groot.
Dude, the unwrapping of the tape and like Gamora putting her hand on his shoulder. This was the second moment in this movie where I was just like welling up a little bit.
Mm,
Because he'd been resisting to open this present for 26 years.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it, but yeah, how intense. That's
Yeah.
quite a moment to decide to open it.
Well, because
Yeah.
he probably knows what's in there. He knows what his mother gives him as gifts.
Right. He just didn't want to
Yeah.
hear it yet. He
Yeah,
wasn't ready to hear it.
He wasn't ready. It's a way of finally saying goodbye to his mother.
Yeah.
Right. And then getting to see a new side of her because it was a new set of songs that meant so much to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, very important, very emotional. James Gunn hit every button and he didn't overdo it.
Yeah. In the after credits scene, the collector sits among his destroyed archive with 2 of his living exhibits, Cosmo the dog and Howard the duck.
Howard the Duck.
And that is a duck fact.
It's true. Yeah.
What did you
was
say?
that?
The burn's going down?
Yeah.
Drinking the thing. That's like the last line,
Yeah.
I think.
We also had the Baby Groot cameo, which
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
very necessary and uplifting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
We have to
funny.
make sure we know. I guess technically that is not Groot's son. It is a clone of Groot, according to arborists.
I
It would
always
be-
thought that. I never
Yeah.
thought it was his son.
It's
Well,
still
'cause-
it's still
him.
Groot.
No,
Yeah.
it is not Groot. James Gunn insists it's not Groot. It doesn't have the same memories. It is a clone of Groot. He insists.
Well, it
Weird.
has to be a clone. That's how that works. But
Yeah.
Like it has its own
person.
personality. Like this, James Gunn insists it's a different character with different memories and a different personality.
I can buy it.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Science.
if I can. But all right.
'Cause you have-
I mean, you can't buy that it's a different character.
Buy as if. Do I think it's possible? Yes. I don't agree. That's all. I guess.
Okay, well, I mean, take it up with James Gunn. He's the one that said it. Um,
Well, what do you want from me? you can call Brian Singer if you want and tell him about how you feel.
there's a lot I'd tell Brian Singer, but anyways,
It wouldn't be about movies, really, though.
Some of the Easter eggs. We see that in their lineup. We see that Rocket's named associates are Groot and Lila. Lila being a sentient otter who he was romantically involved with in the comics. Let's see. All of the coordinates were actually spell out messages from Peter's mother. Like, so when we see the coordinates of the Dark Aster, if you decode it, it says, "This is mom's cancer." And the coordinates for Nowhere decoded read Meredith Quill X.
Or ABBA, depending on how you read it, which is funny.
Yes. Let's see. One of Groot's associates, it's Tibius Lark, and I was unable to find what that means. It doesn't seem to appear in any of the comics.
One of whose associates?
Groot. Tibius Lark.
Is a lark a bird?
He's the partner.
A lark is a bird, and a tibius
lark,
is part of a bone bird.
Bone
I don't know.
bird.
I don't know.
It's a real freak.
Yeah,
Bird
I don't
bone.
know. So
Bird Bone, the sexier Bird Box sequel.
Let's see. He describes the orb as having a real shiny blue suitcase, Ark of the Covenant, Maltese Falcon vibe. Ark of the Covenant and Maltese Falcon are some obvious references. Shiny blue suitcase is a reference to a 2003 movie, which is interesting because that's one of the few references that Peter Quill makes that is not from 1988 or previous.
What movie?
What's the movie?
It was let me see. It was from Kiss Me Deadly. I'm sorry, The Big Empty, 2003. In which let's see. That movie, let's see. Jon Favreau, it's a Jon Favreau movie. He has to deliver a shiny blue suitcase across country, and he doesn't know what's in it, and people are after him.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a little anachronism in there.
So I'm wondering if that was like just a reference because of Jon Favreau and Jon Favreau's association with the MCU.
Yeah, maybe.
If that's what that was about. Yeah. So,
well, we know that some of the Ravagers may have been back to the Earth. We will find out later.
yes. Yeah.
Probably.
I have just a couple unanswered questions.
Oh, hang
Where
on.
was he? Yeah.
I was just looking at other Easter eggs. The 12% of a plan was a nod to one of the was it the Avengers?
Yeah. Where Tony tells Pepper
to give herself 12% of a credit, 12% of the credit, and then she says, "I was having 12% of a moment."
Mm.
Right. All right.
So
questions.
Yeah, unanswered questions. Where was Peter getting all the AA batteries for his Walkman?
It's chemical.
All of those years.
It's chemical electricity. I'm sure they could figure out how much power.
They're called Amulax batteries.
Arulary batteries.
I'm sorry, but in the Simpsons episode we watched this week, Homer went searching for batteries, and ever ready, sometimes ready, always dead.
Yeah,
ever dead. Yes.
Yeah.
Already dead.
Already dead.
So the question about the batteries thing, it's like Quill's tape player in his ship. He just had somebody custom make him something. You know, it is pretty archaic technology, like low voltage chemical power, a thing that reads cellulose tape or magnetic tape, like.
Which is another thing. A cassette tape is not going to last 26 years with that much use.
No.
I had tapes that that started getting real bad and scratchy after like 3 or 4 years.
I feel like if it's the only tape he has and the only time it ever comes out of the container is to flip it, it would probably last a lot longer than if you were sticking other tapes or putting it into its case and that kind of thing too.
Well, no,
Yeah,
no.
I
I
mean-
mean, the thing is, just playing it. It starts to literally rub the rust off the tape. So
Yeah.
playing the tape itself degrades the tape.
I have tapes from 30 years ago that still play, but then same as I've had ones that lasted about a month.
So it depends, but also, yeah, there's that. Oh, and the biggest thing about his Walkman, having owned a number of Walkman with the headphones with the cheap foam over them, that foam is going to wear through within a month.
Well, yeah, that foam is the one real questionable thing on that whole that
Maybe
doesn't
it was
last.
like an iPad situation in parents is like you get 10 minutes of Walkman a day. Just
Yeah. But that's about it. Oh, and I was kind of I watching it this time through, I was kind of surprised that there was no resolution with the Peter's one night stand, like him just like, all right, I'll drop you off here kind of thing.
yeah. That's
I
what
feel
you
like
mean.
maybe they wrote it and just didn't shoot it or cut it or something.
Right.
I'd be really curious to see what this thing looked like before it went through a full editing process. This to me, this feels like A New Hope, where it's like it's a miracle that this movie is as tight and perfect as it is.
Yeah.
Because it could not have been written this perfectly and executed this perfectly from beat to beat to beat to beat and from like every evolutionary step. This thing,
I forgot there was even the Jaws scene where Quill's showing off the different scars on his body. And
Oh
from
yeah.
oh yeah,
the women who gave
Yeah.
him to him. And
Yeah, that's kind of a Jaws reference. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
Or
he
a
hit so
Roadhouse
much.
reference.
Oh
yeah, it's true.
I thought you'd be taller.
Did we talk about the collector's explanation of the origins of the Marvel Universe? Did
not
we really get
really.
into that?
We
Because
did not.
he shows a Celestial using the Power Stone.
Yes, he does.
We get the explanation that before the universe existed, there were 6 concentrated ingots or whatever, 6 elements that were then concentrated into ingots. Like it's an interesting thing that establishes the rest. This is the beginning of the back half of the Marvel Universe.
He said that there were he called them singularities.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And then like after they exploded.
So
Like,
yeah,
there were 6 Big Bangs?
yeah,
I don't know.
prior to the Big Bang that we now have, the universe that exists out of
And yet,
whatever.
and yet, according to comic book canon, they're not as powerful as they later were made out to be.
Yeah, there are more powerful things in the universe.
Right, which I think is what we're probably going to be leading up to here in Phase 4.
Yeah.
I think Phase 4 is going to be time related, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I mean, let's not forget that it took 3 phases to get to Infinity Saga. So,
Sure.
you know, we may be looking at Phase 4, 5, and 6 to lead up to the next humongous thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there are big things already afoot in the MCU.
I'm sure.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah. If it's true, they have introduced a very important character. If that dude is Kang, then it changes a lot.
Oh,
Well,
in addition
bang.
to Kang in the multiverse, there are things that happen in the Eternals movie that expand on this movie also, which is really interesting.
cool.
Yeah, I read those spoilers, so I kind of know what you're talking about, even though I haven't seen the movie yet. But yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it's also time for an actual Doctor Doom.
Oh,
that'd be
power-
nice eventually.
The actual powerful Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
that exists.
So, all right, guys, you ready to rank Guardians?
Sure.
yeah.
All right, let's take a look here on our big old ranking list. Let's see. Our top-rated MCU movie is The Avengers. We've got Iron Man, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Captain America: The First Avenger, Iron Man 3 at 11. I feel like it's better than Captain America: The First Avenger. for sure, without question.
Yeah, I think so too.
Um,
I'd be fine between Spidey 2 and First Avenger.
well, what do we think about where? What I don't know. Al, Brian, what are your guys' thoughts on this area?
I think this is better than all the other Batman movies, like Batman Begins and Batman '89.
Huh.
I kind of agree on Batman Begins, but then in retrospect, I don't know if Batman Begins is actually better than Batman '89. But again, that's just Batman '89 reasserting its nostalgia over me as we get further away from the movies that we ranked above it.
Yeah. I mean, I could make arguments that this is better than Winter Soldier, even, but that's saying quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's an argument to be made, but it is questionable. I don't know. Al, what are your thoughts?
That I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't know that was an option. I'm using that next time.
Go pitch.
I agree with all your points, but I can't fine tune it.
Well, it's going to keep changing as the movies get better, so you can kind of put it anywhere.
Yeah.
Is this our first space movie?
Yes.
I mean,
like
Green
Lantern.
Green Lantern.
That's true. But I mean, we only see two places in space in that movie. We don't really see. Well, no, that's not true.
I feel like it is in the MCU.
Oh yeah, definitely
Oh,
in the
yeah,
MCU.
for
But yeah, I mean, I think it's our first one that like deals like so heavily like in spaceships and like all of that
Okay,
sci-fi
this is
kind
the
of
first
stuff.
movie that does not happen on Earth whatsoever.
Right. Other than the prologue, there is no Earth in this movie. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. How about this is really tough because I feel like it could really go anywhere between 4 and 7.
It really could.
Do we want to go ahead and just let's split the difference and put it at 5?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
I'm happy with that.
All right, then that's where it's going. We are putting it at number 5.
All right.
I'm looking to see where it landed on other MCU lists. I don't know if that's wise.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of your mileage may vary on other lists, I find.
Not our list, though. Ours is
No.
the definitive list.
Yes, our
Listener,
list.
You can trust us to come to serious conclusions.
Yes, we make no mistakes at all in ranking movies.
Except for maybe
No,
Swamp
you're
Thing.
right.
It could be higher. That's all I'm saying.
The rule. There are no rules, and the points don't matter. So
Yeah.
The first list I looked at, they had Guardians below Winter Soldier by a little bit.
who? What?
They had it at number 6. They had it below Winter Soldier, like we have it, but above
Who's they?
Iron Man.
Another podcast, or it's like a nerd blog, or what?
I mean,
Or just they, the general they.
whatever list I just looked at.
Yeah. There's so many.
It's not government sanctioned, so
Yeah. But all right. So, well, you guys, we're moving on to next week. Next week on Harmless Phosphorescence, we are going to be watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Heroes in a Half Shell.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
it's
has
been a while.
the movie in the title. Also, you forgot that part.
Oh, the movie.
The
Teenage
movie.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie.
Not just a movie.
The movie. Yeah.
Unrelated, I want to point out that I was watching the movie version of 21 Jump Street, and there's a point where he runs out of bullets and then just throws the gun, Baby
Yeah.
Lord style. All right, Turtle Power.
Yeah, I've never seen this one, so
Me neither.
it'll be interesting.
I
That's
bet
next.
they still love pizza.
I bet
No,
they.
it's not the
they-
bitch.
Yeah.
I think one of them is a vegetarian.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. So that is next week on Harmless Phosphorescence. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening and hanging out with us. This has been your host, Rose Smiley. I'm in a big hurry to get from something stupid to nothing at all.
God damn it, that was mine, and I didn't write down another one. Let's see. That guy's haircut should be criminal. Man.
Sorry, Josh.
Cease your yammering and relieve
Yeah.
us from this irksome consignment. I'm Brian Lesh.
Josh should go beat up some grass.
Yeah.
He's so mad. Ninja Turtle, you better stop poking me. I'm Alaric Weber.
We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye, guys.